Hello. Today we're going to wrap up 4.4. So this is the third installment of that, which is your special cases. You've got difference of squares, so something squared minus something squared. You have difference in sum of cubes, so you can look for those patterns. Something cubed plus something cubed minus something cubed. Okay? And then we'll do grouping last. Now, there's a key difference here you want to pay attention to. Notice I did not put something squared plus something squared because that is not factorable. That is prime. That will be on your test. You should look for it. It's an easy answer. Do not factor it like a difference of squares. Okay? It cannot be factored. Okay, so do not factor it. I don't know how many times I can say that. Okay. All right, so let's look for these patterns and then we'll start factoring because it's easier to remember by doing. So for difference of squares, here we have x squared minus 100. Well, hopefully you know that's the same thing as saying x squared minus 10 squared. Something squared minus something squared. So we factor it by doing it without the squares and then as addition. Okay, because a difference of squares is going to cancel out all that middle stuff, the minus 10x plus 10x, if you were to FOIL it. Okay, that middle stuff goes away. So difference of squares, x squared minus 10 squared, x minus 10, x plus 10. All right, number 2. You can rewrite that as 2 squared x squared minus 9 squared y squared. Everything has a square on it. Okay, so the first set of parentheses is without the square. And then you write the same thing just with an addition sign. And you can double check it by FOILing. Okay, number 3 certainly doesn't look like a difference of squares. I mean, look at that. I've got 3 here and a 5. That's not, 2 is not a perfect square. So what was that again? The first step of factoring is look for the GCF. I can divide each of these by 2, an A, and I can get rid of a B. So if I take away 2AB from each one of those, I'm left with b squared minus 25a to the 4th. Right? There's 5 a's there, and I take away one of them. Okay, so how do I write this as something squared? Well, I leave my GCF out front. That's already squared. 25 is 5 squared. And then a to the 4th is just like having a squared times a squared. Right? You've got 4 a's. And you want to write it as something squared. So your first set of parentheses is without all the squares. So b minus 5aa. And then 1 as an addition sign. But of course we can write AA a lot better. We can write that as A squared. And that's our final answer. Ooh. My wavy box. All right, let's try it again. Number 4. So we start by factoring. I can divide each of them by 3. But I can also take an x away. So if I take out a 3x, I'm left with 4 x's. And, not 48. I'm left with 16. And we can write that as x squared times x squared minus 4 squared. Take out your squares and write it with addition. So now our answer is 3x times x squared minus 4, x squared plus 4. Do you see it? Do you see why I haven't circled it? Oh, there's something special with this one. I should have written more or given myself more space. All right, here, I'll highlight it. This is what I want you to focus on. Oh yeah, what's that x squared minus 4? Oh, that's a difference of squares. We can do it again. So exciting. So we get x minus 2, x plus 2, and don't forget the x squared plus 4. That's a sum of squares, so I'm going to leave that alone. And here we have our answer. There we have it. All right, it's a little bit longer. All right, so here, sometimes you think you're done factoring and you can keep going a little bit. So always look at your final answer and see, well, is there a difference of squares? Is there anything else? Okay, it's rare. Okay, don't expect it to happen on every single problem. Okay, let's move on. So let's do cubes now. Okay, so for this one, we do cubes, purple. Okay, so here we can rewrite this as x cubed plus 2 cubed. All right, just like with squares, we're going to write it without the cubes. And so we're going to get x plus 2. But because this was cubes, this is different. Okay, when we did squares, okay, when we did difference of squares, we separated it into 2 sets of parentheses, and the second one had 2 things, right? When we do cubes, the second set of parentheses is going to have 3 terms. Okay, so when you have cubes, it's 3 terms over here. All right, now I'm going to try and do this slow. Okay, this is where I lose some people. So to get the first term, we take this value and multiply it by itself. So we do x times x, and we get x squared. Then the next term, the middle term, we get from doing x times 2, right? These terms times each other. So x times 2. I'm ignoring the signs. Ignore any signs. So here we get 2x. And then the last one, the third term, we're going to get by doing the 2 times itself. So this one times itself. So 2 times 2 is 4. Okay, so recap. Write it as something cubed. Drop the cubes. Then write your next 3 terms by multiplying these together. We do x times itself, x times the 2, and then the 2 times itself. Now, for the signs, to remember the signs, remember slope. Not remember slope. Remember SOAP. Okay, that stands for same, opposite, always positive. So those are our signs, okay, that go through. Here we have 3 signs. This was the same as the original. This is the opposite of the original. And this one is always positive. So it doesn't even matter what that is. This one's going to be always positive. So when you're doing cubes, you got cubes of soap. You got to clean it up with your signs. Okay? I know. I did a lot. Right there. So let me do it again. Okay, so number 6. Not set up the way I like it. Okay? Let's simplify it. Pull out that GCF. I want to get rid of a 3, x, and a y from each one of them. We do that. We end up with 3 x's minus 81. Okay, well hopefully you not 81. Silly Miss Cross. Okay, 27. I didn't divide it. 81 divided by 3 is 27. So hopefully we remember that x cubed minus, well, 27 is 3 cubed. So write the first set of parentheses. Just keep bringing that GCF down. Drop off the cubes. X minus 3. Your second set of parentheses is the longer one. We do x times itself. So x times x, we get x squared. Then we do the middle term, x times 3. X times 3 is 3x. We do our last term, we do 3 times itself, so 3 times 3 is 9. Then we think about our SOAP. Same sign as the original, opposite sign as the original, and always positive. So same as the original, opposite the original, always positive. So our final answer for this one is this right here. Okay, you don't have to write those little numbers down there. Okay. All right, let's do some more. Okay, some more cube problems. So you can try these on your own and then I'll walk you through them. All right, so let's do number 7. All right, 8, that's just 2 cubed. 125, that's just 5 cubed. And y cubed. So our first set of parentheses is 2x plus 5y. Our second set of parentheses we're going to get from doing 2x times 2x, then 2x times 5y, and then 5y times 5y. Okay, so we're going to end up with, we have this one. So we get 4x squared, 10xy, 25y squared. Now, let's see, our signs. We do the same, opposite, always positive. So same as the original, opposite the original, always positive. And there's our answer. Okay, number 8. Simplify it first. Always look for that GCF. So when we divide that out, I get 5a out front, and then I get a cubed. There's 3 a's left over. And this one, I get a lot of people that just leave that off. That's not right, y'all. Because if we distribute, we do not get that. Okay, it doesn't become 0. 5 divided by 5 is not 0. It's 1. Okay, make sure you don't do something silly like that, okay? So here we can rewrite it as a cubed minus 1 cubed. Okay, a lot of people don't think of that 1 as being a square or cube, okay? When you see that 1, it could be a difference or sum of cubes or a difference of squares, so watch out for it. So then we get a minus 1. A times itself is a squared. A times 1 is 1a, or just a. 1 times itself is 1. And then, same sign, opposite sign, always positive. There we have it. Okay? All right, what's next? Grouping. Grouping. Okay, so what to do when you've got 4 terms? Okay, that's a clear sign that it's grouping. I got too much going on. So I break it in half. I look at these 2, and then I look at these 2. Okay, does it have to be the first 2 and the last 2? No, certainly not. You can change it up and rearrange your terms if you want, but I try and keep it simple. All right, just do what I just start with this always. So then I think about my first 2 terms, and I go, okay, what can I take out? What do they have in common? They both have a 3 and an x. So I'm going to divide out that 3x. So I'm left with y minus 2. Then what I'm going to do in the next one is I'm going to look at those 2 terms. What can I divide both of those by? I can divide them both by a positive 2. And when I do that, I'm left with y minus 2. Well, isn't that handy dandy? Did you notice that these parentheses are the same? That's a sign that I did it correctly. If they are not the same, then I need to fix what I'm doing. Okay? So now, what I'm going to do is what I did before. I look at this term. Ooh, let me change my color. I'm going to look at this term and this term. Well, they both have the y minus 2, so I'm going to divide that out. So put that out front. And when I take away that, I'm left with my coefficients, the 3x plus 2. There's my answer. Okay, so GCF of the first two, GCF of the second two, and then GCF of those two. Okay, if you're unsure if you've got the right answer, we can check it. So we FOIL. So we get 3xy plus 2y minus 6x minus 4, which is the same thing up there. So we know we did it correctly. I did this through foiling. Okay. All right, let's do another one. So here I've got 2 more grouping problems. So let's just knock these out real quick. So we take the first 2 and the last 2. Okay, so here we kind of have a problem. Ours don't really match up. Okay, so maybe I want to rearrange this. So I'm going to write xy minus 5y plus 10 minus 2x. Is there other options? Yes, certainly. Okay, but that's just the first one I saw. Okay, so let's divide out a y with that one, and let's divide out a 2 with that one. So if we divide out the y, we're left with x minus 5. And here, if we divide out the 2, we're left with 5 minus x. So here we have a problem. So it's not quite the same. Okay, the numbers are the same, but the signs are wrong. So when we do that and our signs mess up, what you might want to try instead is take out a negative 2. Right? We tried the positive, try the negative. So then we get y, x minus 5, that stayed the same, but if we pulled out a negative 2, we would end up with negative 5 plus x. And now these are the same. Okay? So now that they're the same, we can pull them out front and write our coefficients. Okay? So, if the signs don't match up, just pull out a negative instead, and then now my numbers are going to match. All right, let's do number 11. Okay, so pull out the first 2 and the last 2. Yes, I know you can combine that, but whatever, just do it this way. Okay, so here we can divide those by x, and here, I don't like those negatives, so I'm going to divide by a negative 1. So if we pull out the x, we're left with x plus 4. Here, if we pull out the negative 1, we're also left with x plus 4. So we get x plus 4 times x minus 1. And that's grouping. All right, so hopefully this makes sense. If not, just come and see me, and we'll work it out.